Gina Carano is ready to spill the beans when it comes to her relationship with KK and Pedro. Today we'll tell you why it's looking less likely than ever that she'll be a part of Mando and maybe even never returning to Star Wars, despite the reports from last week. Hello, folks, and welcome back to the channel that continues to change hearts and minds simply by telling the truth with a capital T, advocating each and every day for the mainstream middle, the sensible center, where money is made. As we dive in on the latest Gina Carano news, we'll tell you why Disney just might be losing big time with a Mando decision. Click that like button, and it's off to the races yet again. Gina Carano is dropping a B-O-M-B on the hopes and dreams of Disney that she would stay quiet and people would believe she might do a cameo with the Mandoverse. Geeks and Gamers has this one. Marvin Montanaro, you know him, you love him, you're bookmarked to the website, I'm sure. Gina Carano comments on current relationship with Pedro Pascal. Thoughts on the KK. The barista herself, Kathleen Kennedy. Here's what Gina had to say. The situation involving Gina Carano and Disney has returned to the spotlight as the actress and fighter shared where things stand today with the former The Mandalorian co-star, Peepaw Pedro Pascal, and offers her perspective on Kathleen Kennedy, who was closely tied to her departure from Star Wars. Following the settlement of her lawsuit with Disney and Lucasfilm, Carano has been more willing to reflect on the past, but if anyone was expecting bitterness, they won't find much of it, at least not from her. Gina Carano did not dance around the question when it came to her relationship with Pedro Pascal. The two actors who shared the screen during the early seasons of The Mandalorian are no longer in contact. According to Carano, the last time they spoke was following the passing of co-star Carl Weathers in early 2024. That's where things ended, and considering everything that's happened, it's not exactly surprising. However, the timing really does matter here because there was some hope that she just said she spoke on a Zoom call with both Filoni and Favreau. They said, hey, where did we leave things off? And it sounds like that she might be coming back to Star Wars, to Lucasfilm. And so people had said, you know, if she's in The Mandalorian, if she makes a cameo, if she's in the end credits, probably a $200 million decision for the positive for Disney. Tom?
I don't know if I go that high, but yeah, I do think it's a positive, yeah.
She shut the door on it. If she hasn't spoken to, seen Pedro, I don't know how she could be in the Mando movie.
I'm not so sure about that, because remember.
Tell us about it, Tom.
A lot of the stuff she shoots, unless he takes his helmet off, that ain't Pedro Pascal. That's John Wayne's grandson or that other guy.
That's a good point.
And not
Duke
only
Jr.,
that,
they call him.
I mean, this just might be us her telling us that, I don't know if I'd take it as they're out of contact. I think it's kind of telling us maybe they never were that close of friends. Because the only thing we've ever heard them talk about was when he took her aside and, you know, corrected her over the beep bop boop thing, remember?
Right.
And otherwise, we are just assuming they are friends because we saw one little video where they were playing with toys together, right? Point is I don't even know if they were really that close of friends to begin with. And honestly, unless she's in a scene with him where he has to take his helmet off, there's no point where they have to act together. I'm not convinced because this all happened months ago. It all happened when Bob and Kathy, when Kathy was out the door, it happened right after the settlement was over. And what was one of the things that she highlighted that she wanted? It wasn't about the money, right? To quote the Joker, is to send a message. She wanted her job back. And it wasn't so much the job in The Mandalorian. It was the things that were to come. Because we got to remember, she was about to head up her own TV show, which is a big step for an actress of her caliber. Now, she has not exactly said one way or the other she's coming back. She's dropped some hints. She's made the conversation with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau sound like it was a productive one. So she left that hanging chat out there with, like, you know, where did we leave off kind of point where that Favreau said to her. So I'm not wholly convinced she's not in the movie, because if she's not at this point, then why are they even talking about it, or why are they letting it be out there other than she's being asked these questions? I get that, but she's addressing it in a way that she's not saying no. You know what I mean? Like, at no point is she directly saying, I'm not coming back to Star Wars. And when she was kind of asked that direct question on the one podcast, unless she said something specific here that I'm missing on some other interview, she kind of jumped off that subject into other stuff of, like, you know, if I have the right story, the right director. And this was right after she got done praising Jon Favreau. So to me, it feels like she's leaving a lot of little nuggets out there. I don't think she's a big part of the movie if she's in it. I think it's just a small cameo. Like you said, maybe a little tag on the end to kind of recalibrate and set things up. Because even Favreau, has talked about how his ideas for the seasons got kind of destroyed when Kathleen Kennedy decided to make changes on him. So that confirms a lot of our reporting and your reporting and stuff from back in the day. Pretty much everything we've said has come out that it's true, right? So here we are now at this position where this movie has to perform for them, or Star Wars is kind of left with a Hail Mary. And I don't mean that just because Ryan Gosling's in the movie, but that's literally all they got after this. Because there is no more Skywalker saga to tell. There's nothing else within any realm of anything that's worth anything as far as anything of popularity. It's the only thing they have with any tested ground, but it's even fallen off in popularity. At least you got Favreau out there saying that you haven't had to have really seen the shows to watch this, which is a plus. I hope that's the truth. I hope maybe there's a little recap for the general audience who hasn't watched this yet. Because otherwise,
previously on Star Wars.
Exactly, because I don't understand otherwise how you're going to tell this story unless it's such off of left field and has nothing to do with much in the show. Because what is it then?
Right. How are we going to introduce these characters if everybody really knows who they are?
Them, yeah.
And why would you introduce Baby Yoda? I mean, he has nothing to say. Wiz, go ahead, Lord.
That's actually a lot easier than I think you may be thinking it is, because all of the Star Wars spin-off movies, while they don't have an opening crawl, they have something that simulates an opening crawl. Mm-hmm. All they have to do is say, this guy's a Mandalorian bounty hunter working for the New Republic. This is his ward who is following in his footsteps. They're going off to capture Imperial remnant folks.
Do you think they'll do the crawl?
Yeah. Not a traditional crawl. They'll do the same type that they've been doing with the other spinoffs.
Wiz, the other thing we've got here is Gina Carano made a statement about Kathleen Kennedy. It says, Carano also addressed Kathleen Kennedy, who has since stepped down from her role as president of Lucasfilm. Rather than revisiting old battles, Carano kept it simple. She says, I wish her the best. You never know what somebody else is going through. So very generous, very kind. Nice. But yeah, very nice. It seems to me, though, Wiz, that at the same time that Gina is coming back, maybe, kind of, sort of.
It implies that Kathleen Kennedy's going through something, too. Yeah.
KK, everything KK wanted is going away, Wiz. I mean, we just did a report on Disneyland the other day. They actually listened to the fans and went back and recast and costumed the characters for the original trilogy after people laughed at them. And something's up at Disney. It may be too little too late, but they seem to be going back to George Lucas's vision. A little maybe.
Well, it is too little too late, and it doesn't matter. But the difference here is they're trying to at least put a Snoopy Band-Aid on the ever bleeding out wounds that this brand is. They're trying to patch it even just a little bit. Mandalorian and Grogu is like
it's a Flintstone vitamin. Flintstone vitamin for leprosy. I love the Snoopy Band-Aid for bleeding out. It's too good.
That's exactly what it is. It's that they're desperate now, but they don't have the internals to actually make a difference or to course correct the amount of damage you would have to undo to try to course correct it. It's not going to happen. What I would say, though, to the Gina Carano controversy and the idea that she's meeting with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and might be coming back on board, Gina, don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, if they offer you a ton of money, do it. But if without that ton of money, don't touch this. The sky's the limit. Gina, you're bigger than Star Wars. Go be bigger than Star Wars. Whatever they offer you, go do something else somewhere else. Don't get back on the sinking ship. You're better than that.
Tom, I sense skepticism.
You don't need them.
Well, the problem is, Fake Wizard, is that she's not getting the offers, and that's what this whole lawsuit was about. Because I mean, as far as I understood from one of the things she was talking about, she didn't really want to do movies like Terror on the Prairie or whatever the heck it was called. That just happened to be one of the few things she could get her hands on at this point. Her being in Star Wars and basically being seen in a Disney Star Wars production is a sign of her winning. And it seems like all these articles are kind of setting it up, like the nuggets she's dropping. It almost feels like we're leading up to something. Right. I could be wrong. I could be reading too much into it. But to me, it feels like Favreau was like out of the picture. Then all of a sudden now it's him and Filoni are in charge of Star Wars all of a sudden, even though Dave Filoni is the one on paper. We all know Dave Filoni can't handle this.
So let me ask this then. Wiz, do you not believe if KK is gone, Disney is playing with the original trilogy and they really feel squeamish about the sequels, and Pedro leaves, and we're starting to hear now Pedro's probably out after this movie. If Gina comes back and these two are gone and the movement is towards, do you not see that would feel like a victory for her maybe?
I think so.
No. Because look at, and this might seem a little silly, but bear with me. Look at the numbers for Daredevil Born Again. We're looking at 4.5 million views for season 2 so far. Okay, so now we're in YouTuber numbers again. Look at Star Trek. We're in YouTuber numbers. YouTubers are now able to compete with $100 million studios. We're competing with Disney.
Well, Gary of Nerdrotic put an action figure of Spock in a chair, and it had better viewership than Starfleet Academy.
So do you know what's going to happen? You're going to have, let's role play this. Pedro leaves. They do Mandalorian and Grogu. Okay, fine. Let's say pie in the sky, Gina comes back, and we get Rangers of the New Republic with the lead, Gina Carano. We're already dying out here. The brand is losing viewers. So now you give Gina a show, and it underperforms. The trades are going to crucify her with it. And
there is a danger,
the death knell of her career. Don't do it. Don't do it unless you're comfortable taking Scrooge McDuck levels of money, and you got to be comfortable knowing this might be the last thing you get. You play this out, play the long game here. It's better for you to play the field right now. Everybody's talking about Gina, and she's kind of, the brand is kind of changed. The people that were going to hate on her, they're going to hate on her. Let her hate on her. That's fine. But the people in the middle are like, hey, Gina's pretty cool. She's got this fight coming up. Everybody's rooting for her.
It's not a great time to be Rhonda.
Ronda Rousey's the heel of that fight, right? Like, this is big. The worst thing she could do is sign back on to Star Wars. If it's a cameo, it's a cameo. Don't do anything else.
Lauren, you're the Star Wars expert. You're the guru. I give you the final word. This is a very fascinating argument, and I had not thought about what it would do to Gina if she came back for Rangers and it performed poorly. Lauren, what should she do here?
I can't tell her what to do. I can say that my thinking that she is going to come back has been dampened a little bit after I read more of the interview that she had that we were quoting earlier in the week, where she said she had the conversation with Dave and with John, because when they did come to that question about, are you coming back? Would you come back? And she said, it all depends on the scripts and the director. In the video, it felt to me like she got closed when she said that, as though she's still uncomfortable talking about that. And so if she's just doing a misdirect and she is going to do a cameo, then I think what it is kind of what we suggested before. She's probably not going to be on screen. I'm guessing it'll just be something like a call and you'll hear her voice. And that may explain as well, if it's not Brendan Wayne or Lateef Crowder on the screen, why she would say that she hasn't spoken to Pedro. This story today did surprise me, though, when she said she hadn't spoken to Pedro, because previously she's spoken well of Jon Favreau. She's spoken well of Dave Filoni. She had spoken well of Pedro as well in the past. And I don't think at that time that it was about just selling the marketing for the show. She talked about him as though he was kind of like a brother figure. And so hearing that she hasn't talked to him since Carl Weathers' funeral, that's a surprise to me. And it makes me wonder if there has been a falling out behind the scenes about that.
Well, it didn't even have to be anything more than he just didn't have her back. I mean, that's what I'm saying is, like, maybe they were friendly, but when she realized that he wasn't going to have her back, and when people like Carl Weathers did, yeah, I'm sure that really kind of, because he even said something like along the lines of, it really did show me who these people really were. Sorry, I'm trying to.
Yeah, and obviously they would have some disagreements about ideology because of Pedro's family. And so if it came to light that he was putting some pressure on her behind the scenes, that would also explain it. So I'm less bullish on her now making an appearance in the movie. And even if she did, I don't believe that Rangers of the New Republic is on the table anymore, because John has already said that most of his ideas for that are now transitioned to Ahsoka Season 2.
That's right. So
I think that
and Lord knows
odds,
we're not recommending she be in Ahsoka season 2 if they offer it. I'm like, no. Gina,
I'll do it.
Gina,
No,
listen.
The only win for her at this point is to be in this movie and get her spinoff. Otherwise, I agree. There's no reason for her to even be a part of this.
I agree. And so I think the odds of her appearing have gone down precipitously from when we last talked about this last week. And I think that's going to be kind of a black eye for the movie. I think that this is that was their one hope to generate some kind of buzz, was the surprise appearance of Gina Carano. And I think that that's also something that is required if Disney wants to fix Star Wars. So I think they're back in kind of a terrible bind.
I would challenge that very, very gently, Lorne, because we know that this movie is made for people who haven't watched the show. You would expect it to be the opposite. You would expect that this show would be for people who actually watched all 3 seasons, but they've already been on the record saying this is for, we want everybody to be able to watch this. So they're expecting you walk in, you know nothing about the Mandalorian, you know nothing about Grogu. So it doesn't matter if she's in it or not. It would be a cameo for people like us and for you guys at home, but otherwise, the movie's going to be told without her.
I think we're actually in agreement here. There's a difference between the casual fans and the diehard hardcore fans. But if you want to revitalize the property, you have to please the diehard hardcore fans. And that's why I think that her returning is crucial to fixing Star Wars, whether or not the casual audience has any idea who she is.
Folks, we'll follow it. Sequel trilogy still has Star Wars in a place that it cannot overcome until it's gone. And Gina, fixing that might be the part that says to a lot of people out there, the KK era is over. We shall see. But I think Wiz made some great points. Might not even be in Gina's favor anymore to come and join in with what Lucasfilm is doing. We'll keep going, folks. But the screwing up from Lucasfilm may just be continuing if they can't grab her for a cameo. You know, it's always sad when one of these video ends, and yet it is the beginning of the wait for the next one to land. 4 times a day right here on the Pro Channel. And by the way, there's plenty more on our partner channels. That Park Place, That Pod Place, That Game Place, and go check out the original music we have on stations like Vacation Radio. We'd love to have you, love to entertain you. At least we'll do a better job than some of the current entertainment companies. Folks, like, share, subscribe, and you know what? Drop a comment right on down below. Share this out anywhere you go on social media. And until the next time, we have the honor, the pleasure of getting to spend time with you when you choose to invite us into your day to add the value that we hope to bring your way. We ask that you keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.